Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream where I have pomegranate juice, and then I want to walk you through the following. We got the trade tariffs, or the trade wars are back. We've got big things happening in the Middle East that are going to affect markets, oil prices, and everything else. Inflation fears are back, which is why gold is nearing $3,000. We've got a fight between the AI control, or the AI titans, really, Elon and Sam. Fed Chair Powell speaks today, and yet actually bullish if you look at good. And that's really the key part I want to break down for you so you understand the medium-term story and you're not too distracted by all the noise in the media right now. That's really their intention. I think it's just to distract you. Because I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here so you can see my screen here. So we got to understand each one of these items because it's important, and I'm going to try and plug in something here so I can explain that a little bit better to you. As in my mouse pad. Let's see if that works. On our little travel setup here. Does that work? Does that work? Mousepad says no. Oh yeah, there we are. Brilliant. Okay, so the tariff wars are back. Europe, the apparatchiks in the European Union came back, said we will fight back, against American tariffs on aluminium and steel. And this is going to escalate. Trump's also going to put tariffs, I believe, on European cars and a lot of other European goods. And the EU says they're going to fight back and putting tariffs on that. Who's going to win that war? I don't know. But it's going to cause some volatility, would be the polite way of putting that. Now, Kamada, I'm seeing popping up here quite a lot. Okay, we'll touch upon that. Literally, I have the chart open, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. So there's this myth that tariffs cause inflation. Now, they don't really cause inflation. They might cause a one-off increase in prices if there isn't a domestic alternative that's a similar price. Definitely true. But after that, it is no longer inflationary. So it's not something that the Fed needs to get involved with, and that's what they've said. But do watch out for what Jerome Powell says today in front of Congress, where he will undoubtedly be asked about tariffs, and I think he might fudge the answer. That could be an interesting one. The second thing we've got going on is that Trump set Hamas, one of the largest hedge funds out there, probably actually, it wouldn't surprise me. They have the power to move markets. They are to release all Israeli hostages by the weekend or all hell will break. So what does that then do? Well, that potentially drives oil prices up. It potentially drives freight costs up as the whole Red Sea conflict gets heated up again. And that again causes some market wobbles, right? And potential inflation fears. So that could also be inflationary. And that's why gold is doing absolutely insanely well. Now, I'm not a huge gold investor. I do have some gold, but not a great deal of it. And I'm always very cautious on trading the gold indices because I don't fully understand it. One of my mentors is a former London Metal Exchange market maker, Elliot. Some of you guys know him if you're inside of our program. He's a genius on metals. That's usually who I ask. I haven't yet, because I always feel like it's quite speculative. But it's a reasonable expectation that gold might go a lot higher. A lot of the big investment banks are saying it's going to hit $3,000 plus. So a little bit of an overview, right? And then we get to Powell, and then we get to why we're actually bullish and what we actually do and what we're actually potentially buying today. Now, the AI control fight. Sam, the charitable, wants to basically change open AI to closed AI. It's meant to be an open source model, and he wants to go from no profit to ka-ching, right? He wants to make money. So he is going to buy OpenAI from the charity, because you can't just convert a charitable organization into a profitable one, a profit-making one. You have to do some funny business there. And he's trying to underpay for this. Now, Elon, who has a lot of beef with Sam has come in and says, well, we'll buy OpenAI for about $100 billion. He doesn't actually want to buy OpenAI. He just wants to screw up this transition from non-profit to profit. And maybe he doesn't want to do that for the greater good. Maybe he just wants to do it because he hates Sam Altman. Entirely possible. One or the other, I don't really care. So that story there is a bit of noise, but it also shows you how much money and how much value there is in this whole AI thing, right? And what did we just learn in the last couple of weeks? Well, we learned that all the big tech companies, all the big customers of AI, are going to spend about 30% more on building out more AI capabilities than expected. So the whole AI boom is very, very much alive and very, very, very young. And that takes us to Jerome Powell, the money printer, who, as I said yesterday, will stop shredding money in June. When is he going to cut rates? He's going to tell us that. He's going to say it's data-driven. So he's going to have one of these very long, like 2-hour kind of testimonies where most politicians don't ask questions but just testify themselves. So am I going to watch it? No, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to read the summary of it tomorrow and go to sleep instead and enjoy myself. But there is some wobbliness today because Powell speaks, and the wobbliness looks like that. It looks like this. This is the pre-market, right? Not horrible. I mean, a lot of stuff's down 1% in terms of big tech. Tesla also down 1.2% again. But it's not a crash. It's just like one of these things. We tend to open green, red, close green, or the other way around at the moment. Because the market's a little bit volatile. It's a bit like unsettled. So why the heck is Wall Street bullish then? And how do we actually figure out what to do with our money today? And I saw some of the chat here of you guys earlier on. Well, to start with, you got thoughts about, well, what stocks are you buying today? Please get yourself some rules. Right? These rules inside the masterclass are based on what I learned from my mentors who've worked on Wall Street for decades. And for me, they've been working insanely well. Not saying that this is therefore, I'm kind of saying it's the secret path to enlightenment as an investor. That's basically what I'm saying. And it's way simpler than you think. There are only 3 rules you need to learn, and it'll only take you about 15 minutes. So go over there, watch the free masterclass. In fact, do it right now. It'll be way better used than understanding what Wall Street is thinking right now. And Fox there, appreciate you putting the link in the chat. Can I pin that? Pin that to the chat as well. Because what we're all about here is education, because that's the only way you get better, right? And I do sometimes share some trades. I posted some yesterday. We can certainly talk about those. But the only way you make good decisions is if you actually have rules. Now, this needs explaining. And the purple line, the S&P. Familiar with the S&P, largest 500 companies in the United States, purple line here. So that there is just the S&P 500. So what's the yellow line? The yellow line is how bearish are people? Well, we have a lot of bears because it's a scale. The higher it is, the more bears they are, which means people are worried about the market. I think it's going to collapse, right? So what happens when this indicator spikes, like it did here, for example, or here? You see what happens to the S&P when it spikes? Get a purple color to match the S&P. Well, after it spiked there, what did? We went to the moon, and so on. So this is actually saying, if everybody, this is counterintuitive, I get this, but if everybody out there is bearish, it means sentiment has bottomed. It's terrible, can't possibly get any worse, and therefore very likely to get better. And that's a real thing. And that might sound a bit weird, but I've been saying that since the end of last week. I think people are max miserable on the market. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. It's a huge opportunity. And then we also have our beloved hedge fund friends. And what do? Well, they sell when you and me buy. we're the exit liquidity. So basically what they do is they try to go against the market. They try to sell at the top and they try to buy at the bottom. So as we have had a very nice run up, they've been selling a lot, like really a lot. So you can see them here, yellow pen to match their color there, how much they're in the market. They've sold a huge amount. And the last time we were lower was in September. And what happened in September? Well, the market recovered from the Japan disaster and bounced off very, very significant. A similar thing happened in late 2023, November, I think it was, right? They were max bearish, sold off everything, and we bounced off. And you get these examples again and again and again over time. So again, once these guys sell a lot, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to start looking for bargains. Start trying to pick them up again, and they want to like not miss out on the rally because they can't afford to. So for me, fundamentally, Wall Street is positioning itself to be very, very bullish. We just have this kind of early Trump wobble period to get over. He's just kicking off everything. People are not used to that level of activity. And one way you can track that is a pretty good indicator for that. And it's simply, here's Kamada, which is down a little bit today, actually. But it's the VIX, it's the fear index. And as some of you guys were mentioning that, you're thinking about it, I actually sent out a document that I was only intending for the masterclass on the weekend, and I sent it out to all of you guys by email yesterday, so you can read that. And it's a little elevated, 60, not super high, but it's a little elevated. And there's a beautiful way to trade that and make money out of that, and that's what we intend to do and continue to do. And I think we're going to make quite a bit of money out of that. What's our big trade that I'm doing at the moment? At the moment, it's up just a little bit, up like $800 or something like that, which is still 120%. But potentially we might make a couple of grand out of this, 2-3 or something like that. So which is pretty good. So we look out for these kind of setups. So I like it when the market wobbles because I make money, right? And that's why it's important to understand that. Guten Morgen. Jim, I'm not going to be able to teach you options trading, my friend, here in 3 minutes. It's something, stock trading, understanding stock charts. We can do that in 15 minutes, which is why the masterclass is 15 minutes long. But options trading is something that takes a couple of months, for sure. It takes a couple of months to really understand it on a base level. And then you can go deeper. So I'm not going to be able to do that in a couple of minutes here. Some other stocks also were booming yesterday. Archer Aviation, for example, is down a fair bit today. We were yesterday at 10 something. Now we're at 920. And you just have to get used to these kind of wobbles. When stocks go up, 10, 20%, they also come down 10, 20%. But for me, this Adyen play is an interesting one. I'll put out a video on that later on today. I sort of was posting a little bit about that yesterday. Obviously, the other one we did yesterday, this one, DOMH. This was one that went absolutely nuts yesterday. Went up like 90-something%. You see that here? Crazy stuff, right? Where's it trading right now? I don't think it has a pre-market. Or is it trading? Oh, it's trading up there at 967. Okay, wow. Okay, so people are just playing with this now. This makes no sense, by the way. Dominari own a very small stake in Adyen, probably worth about less than $1 million. This is now a $50-60 million stock. Makes very little sense, actually. But people will do what they want to do. Monica, you can't understand options with 5 years of trying. Monica, well, it's there is a little bit of a learning curve to that. That's definitely true. DeGiro is a terrible broker, my friend. It doesn't show VIX. I would not surprised. Is Tesla a falling knife? I think that's actually a very good question. Let's look at some of your favorite stocks here. But honestly, 99% of the questions that you're asking me, you can answer yourself if you go watch the masterclass. Seriously, that's the whole intention, to give you the information that you actually seek. So Tesla here is dropping below its 350 support, which I do not like in the slightest. Now, the real question is what happens after Jay Powell speaks. Often, when we get events like Powell speaking or inflation, people hedge, which actually depresses the market. And then when they unwind those hedges, it tends to shoot the market up a little bit here. But yeah, if that continues, this sell-off, then I'm going to pair some of my Tesla positions for. Is Tesla a falling knife at this point? So we'll look where the moving averages sit. Well, the 150 is still at 207. So yeah, it's significantly now below the 50-day moving average line, which sits at about 400. But it's breaking below its support. So when the market opens, we'll see if that has any relevance still. The other support will then come here from that sort of low range over there and kind of 330. But that's maybe not something we necessarily want to test. Jose is asking, is it a bad moment to get into Snowflake? To answer that question, honestly, just watch the masterclass, because it'll answer that question for you for every stock and any stock out there, like every single one. And that's much, much better than me giving you an answer on one particular stock, and a lot less time. Chris there, thanks very much. You guys got us Tesla earlier. Yeah, but the important thing is to have a rule. You can always be right or wrong in hindsight. That really doesn't make any difference. Like, okay, let me give you an example. The DOM, the Minion thing yesterday, right? I had a trade open on that. I bought it at, I remember, I think I tweeted it. Anyway, it went up 20, 35%. I set my stop loss so that I would collect at least 20%. Then it exited and I went to bed very, very happily. And today, that trade would have made me 250%. Am I kicking myself for that? No, I'm very happy. Very, very happy. I don't care that it's gone up that much. What I care about is that I actually made a real profit. I realized the gain and I followed my rules. That's all that matters. I had no way of knowing that this thing is going to blow up another 100% today. Nobody did. So you therefore can't take that into account. That isn't part of your rulebook. All you can do is work with the data and information you've got. You don't see the future. So doesn't matter if you're missing out on something. It really isn't a problem. Green is green, indeed. That's exactly the thing. You're going to profit, protect it. That is the most important thing out there. And Alpha there, I saw you in the chat earlier on, Alpha, and you've managed to set a fair bit of money on fire, right? And look, that's very, very easy to do. And you're going to, honestly, you're going to continue to do that unless you really, really change your approach. Like, it's not about getting lucky. And you were asking, oh, was it a good time to buy this stock or that stock today? Kamada, for example, you mentioned, which is a stock that's reporting earnings in 2 days, which means it's an insanely risky time to enter into it, especially once it's had this massive run-up that it's had, right? Earnings are on the 12th. You haven't changed your approach. You're still gambling. And you will continue to gamble unless one or two things happen. Either you figure out that the reason you actually invest is because you want to achieve something meaningful in your life. A goal that is something that will incentivize you to change and learn. And that could be doing something for your family or your children, or something that is really, really important to you. The second is you're going to keep gambling until you lose so much money that it becomes so painful that either you give up and you blame everyone else and you say the market's manipulated, no one can make money, and that's what a lot of people do, or you will use that pain as a motivator to go and learn. You've got two choices. You can basically burn a lot of money and then maybe learn at that point, or you can right now literally just sit down with a piece of paper and write down what is it you actually want in life. And will money help you to get you there? And if you're finding that challenging, well, write down what you hate in life. I'll write down the opposite next to it, like in life. And from a lot of people, that is motivation enough to go and learn the skill of investing, because it's a skill. It's like any other. Like you're not going to learn. Like if you put yourself as a 15-year-old into a car, and let's say you've never seen people drive before, you just know that's a thing. you wouldn't know how to drive, right? And even if you started to drive, you'd probably kill people. And you got what? Got a driving instructor, maybe a parent, or maybe it was a professional, but it's the same sort of thing. Somebody who was actually qualified to do it. Unless you do that, you're going to continue to set your money on fire. And unless your money grows on trees and you got so much of the stuff that it doesn't matter to you, all right, then it's a strange casino that you play in. But I hope that you find that motivation to actually sit down and learn. And if you want to start learning, watch the masterclass. It's free. The link's down below, felixfriends.org/get-free. And that'll give you the rules that I use, pick stocks, set exits, and how we automate the risk management. Alpha, if your goal is to get the money you lost back, you will lose more money. Guarantee it. That isn't a goal. That's just trying to undo the damage you've done. And it's going to get you into this greed mindset and into the mindset where when things go down, you don't sell because you're afraid of the losses. So you're going to make it a lot worse. Seriously, I've seen a lot of people do this. I've seen a lot of people come to me who lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had one kid, he inherited $900,000 from his mother. He was 25 years old. She passed away very sadly. He lost $600,000 of that money in about 3 months following Muppets on Reddit. Right? I made him close down his brokerage account and wire the money out. That's what I did. I said, you got to take off 3 to 6 months at least till your mindset's in a place where you can actually think straight, and then give us another call. So you're in a place, my friend, where you'll continue to lose money. Seriously. I've seen it thousands of times. Thousands of times. Can we stop it? Yes, but only if you're willing. And at the moment, you're not willing because you think somehow luck will turn. It won't. There is no luck in the market that will actually consistently make you money. The way the market's structured, the only people who get lucky are the market makers. All right, unburdened by what has been, Manuel. Yeah, that's a great phrase, my friend. Loss aversion is the worst place to be, Mike. And you got a lot of people here who've learned. And Andy, that's sad. Yeah, it's very sad. It's pretty sad, and it's just a tragedy. And had he called me 3 months before, we could have prevented that, of course. But the problem is that most of us on the chat here are guys, right? We've somehow been wired to think that we need to know everything. We need to know all the answers. Well, but like try to fly a plane. Would you just get in the plane and take off? No, you wouldn't, right? Because you'd know you'd die. Well, just jump into the market. You're going to lose most of your money unless you have rules. If you don't want to learn rules, buy an index fund every month. Leave it at that. You'll be fine. You'll make 10% a year on average, and you'll be just fine. It'll be incredibly boring, and you'll live a pretty average life, but that's okay. It's a lot better than most people. Most people live a below average life. Warren here, thanks for sharing. He says, my goal is to be financially free, pay for my children's education. I do this first by protecting my capital. That's a sound mindset, Warren, and that's going to get you very, very far. Drew, thanks very much as well. Trade limits, yeah, they can be useful for sure. Greece, I like that. We don't chase stocks, we ambush them. The rules show us where to wait, precisely. Now, a lot of the time, we do nothing at all. Am I going to buy anything today? Don't know yet. I might not. Market opens in 5 minutes. I mean, Powell is speaking at 10 a.m. That could shoot the market up or down significantly. Maybe it isn't the moment to do anything. I mean, there were a few breakouts yesterday that might be worth looking at, and I'll scan through some of these, and we have these in TradeVision. If you haven't got yourself a TradeVision account yet, please do. That's where you see our lists, basically. Kamada earnings are tomorrow, I believe. I appreciate the Matthew McConaughey comments there. That's funny. Well, Kamada tested support again. At the moment, it's kind of looking a little bit like that. Actually, it's not looking too bad. It's still, look at that. It's at 820 right now. It's pretty good. considering where we were yesterday. That's pretty good. So at the moment, that looks like a very healthy one. But obviously, earnings is what's going to decide this, right? This is what's going to decide whether we're going to keep going up or not. Garden Therapy says Shop. They reported earnings. Was it this morning or is it after hours today? I haven't checked yet. Yeah, they haven't reported it. They're reporting earnings today. So it's just consolidating, basically. It's sitting at the same level it was sitting at in December. So not really a lot to see there, I would say. Yeah, it just hasn't really done a lot. So I like the stock fundamentally, but let's see what they actually deliver. You can see my screen from the reflection. I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. There's the screen. So yeah, Shopify hasn't really done a lot. It was in December after the breakout was trading at 115. It's trading at 122 right now. Not really a lot of movement there. So we'll see what they report. Thanks very much, guys. Fox and so on. It's just my chat is a little small over here today because I'm on the laptop. Rodney, you can't sell put spreads, or you can't sell spreads when IV is low. It's a stupid thing to do. You only want to do it when they're high as well. Do you believe in dollar cost averaging for index funds? Yes. For stocks, not really. No. You could argue that something like Microsoft is kind of an index fund because they own cloud computing and software and LinkedIn and gaming, and maybe there are a couple of exceptions to big stocks, but generally speaking, no, I don't believe in it. And you know what? Belief is one of these things. Like if it requires faith, then it's really not a very good rational decision, is it? So anything where people say, do you not believe that they'll do that? And I'm generally like, no, generally speaking, religion is not something that's part of my financial decisions. So I look at the data, and the data is basically shown in the chart, and that's really kind of all we need to know. Is exactly that. So a quick look where we are pre-market here. 3 minutes to go. Nvidia is down a little. Actually, we can look at the heat map as well. It's not terrible, but it also isn't brilliant. It's just one of these Jerome Powell is about to speak moments. Everything is down 0.5, 0.8%, except for Apple, which actually is pretty decent today. You believe in Tesla, Musk? What are the short term? I think there are companies that have moments when they appear good value. And then we need to find a strategy that gives us a potentially much higher return, much higher profit, and a much smaller risk. If we can find that setup, then those can be really, really brilliant strategies. So we've done that with SoFi, we've done that with Tesla, we've done that with PayPal. That isn't the same thing as faith. With tanks, I'm still out. So it's not a, still the portfolio is zero kind of a religious affiliation. For long-term holds, do you lean to ETFs? Yeah, I think that's an easy thing to do. Data shows the faith of the other traders. Exactly. Ding, 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 the market's open. How did you decide to hold a newish position over earnings? Well, why did you get into it? That would be my first question to you. Why did you get into the position? If you can answer that one, that probably tells you whether you want to hold it over earnings. So Nvidia looking, well, all right, 1% down, but it's still a significant improvement to where we were at the beginning of yesterday. Tesla, I think the one we're worried about right now. And Trump, we Musk, I like that. I hate Tesla below 350. I don't like it one little bit, to be honest with you. We're below 350 right now, which definitely isn't brilliant. Yesterday was also a horrible candle called an upside down hammer candle, which is a nightmare. And we're going even lower. So the faith is flowing out of the Tesla camp, for those of you guys who are faith-based. And almost starting to make me wonder whether this is was this a head and shoulders? Is that what that was? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, collapse. Is that what that was? And we didn't see it? Arguably, right? That would have sort of been the line to get out of, possibly. Certainly looking particularly bearish right now in terms of setup. Give it a few minutes, see what the market says. Are you in Dubai right now? No, I'm in Malaysia right now. Palantir, on the other hand, yeah, I think Palantir is benefiting from the whole Anduril thing. The video's coming out on that just after this one here. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you are. You get the notification for that. And I'll walk you through the 3 ways you can get exposure to Anduril, which I think is kind of a Palantir type play. Like literally, there could be a story like Palantir if they ever take it public. But in the meantime, there's some different ways to get exposure to that. At 115, I think that's a very, very healthy opening here, considering how much we've rallied up. I'm only watching a little bit, as always, for the volume indicator, and you guys who've watched the masterclass will understand what I'm talking about here. Volume's falling while we're going up, not necessarily brilliant. And if you want to get yourself all of our indicators, including the resistance at 120, make sure you go where? Make sure you go to greatvision.io and get yourself a free trial there. Eva, there are some ladies on here, which is brilliant. Thank you very much, all 4 of you. Brandon is asking, the Microsoft resistance has moved a lot. Why? It's actual positions. It's a reflection of where the market is positioned. We don't make it up. So if you look at the history of that here, it's going down, right? It's going down significantly. So people are hedging a little bit lower, moving their positions a little bit lower. They don't expect it to go as high as it was at 480. So it's a little bit of a bearish sentiment there on Microsoft. Why? Well, it's below purple line, which is the 150-day moving average line, which is definitely a bad thing. But if you zoom out a little bit, it's still kind of within that sort of general trend that we've been in since the beginning of 2024, which is we're at the very, very bottom end of that. So to see how that plays out. Kim, another lady. Okay, there's more than one of you, which is amazing. Thank you. Oh, what's the stock we're going to look at? PayPal. Renamed PayPal, apparently. Down another 2% here this morning. Ouch. So this is just market sentiment overall, you can see, but it's now below the 150. See the hideousness of being below the 150? That purple line there, we don't want to be below that. So that is definitely not a happy candle, any way, shape, or form. So definitely a bearish setup right there. Who can save it? Jerome the Almighty Powell, who speaks at 10 a.m. We'll see what he has to say. How do you manage taxes? I live in a country where pay taxes on trading. If you do, in the US, Roth IRA is brilliant. And honestly, if taxes decide whether or not you're going to buy or sell something, you've got a way, way bigger problem than taxes. Taxes are only a problem if you make money. If you make money, you have to give some of that to your government, then that's your choice because you decide to live there. So taxes should not feed into a trading strategy. Taxes should, at the outset, you want to sit down and you want to say, hey, this is how I can generally optimize my taxes, say by trading in a Roth IRA or using a backdoor Roth IRA and stuff like that. You can do that. But on the day-to-day, week by week, month by month, like this should not be a consideration. If it is, you're going to do really stupid stuff. Stupid is the wrong word. But you're going to make decisions that are driven by a fear of paying taxes. You only pay taxes when you make money. So if I make money and I had to pay taxes on that, okay, right? But I made money. So now I have a little bit less money than I would have had if I didn't pay any tax, but taxes are hard to avoid, legally at least, but I'd recommend. get taxed at a job too, says Brent. Yeah, most people do. So therefore, you're not going to be like, well, I'm going to quit, right? Because I'm going to get taxed here. Like, still better to have some money than no money. Generally, my rule. What broker would you use in Europe? Interactive brokers, probably. IBKR. Not the most user-friendly, but it's a good one. Hasty is also all right, but yeah, I'd probably lean towards IBKR. Most of my European students use. They say ACHR is a volatile stock. Heck yeah, it's a very volatile. And these plays are not for the faint-hearted. Archer is, it's the new AI thing. It's down 9% here this morning. But if you look at the chart, you can hardly tell it because it's sort of within the usual trading, it's the usual zone here. So yeah, it's definitely a volatile play. Very volatile. Tax rates under 100%. No, that would be communism. So in which case you probably wouldn't be trading. And let the tax tail wag the dog. Thanks very much, David. The more tax you pay, the better. Well, if it's a reflection of you doing well, then yes, I agree with you on that. Do you use any Hong Kong trading platforms? No, I don't. I haven't found any that are particularly brilliant. So. Tempest is up again, is it? How is our friend? Okay, let's have a look then. This is the Nancy stock, which has been on an absolute tear. It's up another 8% here this morning, so the party keeps going on pretty strong volumes. So that's pretty impressive. And then we have the Kamada story, which is, it's down 3.3%. That's sort of neither here nor there. Maybe probably a little bit of a wobble here one day before earnings sort of makes sense, really. We called 2 breakouts here. Let's see what happens to the second one. The second one is a little bit on a stretched one, but yeah, volume was extraordinary. Okay. Zim says, Nico, yeah, it's one I'm watching. I like the whole shipping story at the moment. I was tempted to buy it yesterday, but it didn't fit my rules. And does it fit my rules today? I'm not sure it does. It does possibly. The 150 is slightly above that now. So if you close a little bit higher, then yes, I think it could be one. You see my purple line in here? That is that one. That was sort of my, trend. We're breaking out of it. Some of the shipping companies like Maersk and so on reporting good numbers. So yeah, I think we might find ourselves a little higher here on Zim, but for me, it's still a little bit too early. Rulebook, not yours. Think or swim is terrible. Warp, I quite like it actually. The web version, the browser version is good. The desktop version looks like something from like 1994 or something. Kamada is tomorrow, I believe. How high will Palantir go? Nobody knows. What about BlackBerry? Are they still around? Kim is asking when you buy stocks, basically. Yeah, the first hour or two of the day are very, very volatile. So if you can avoid it, you can avoid it. I do usually buy it near the market open because I'm a lot of the time at least, I'm in Asia, which just means I'm sort of 12, 13 hours ahead of New York. And I don't want to be up all night. So I just use the bid-ask price to kind of manage that. And you can do that because they basically rip you off at the beginning of the day. And then it gets a little bit more efficient throughout the day on the bid-ask spread. Another lady here, Lauren. Oh my God, there are 4 of you. You are multiplying. ARM. I think ARM is an interesting one for sure. BlackBerry's been amazing. Okay, I've not followed that story for a couple of years. Brian, you're very kind. Nvidia is pushing up, is it? I mean, you basically just need the big tech stop to start pushing up, and then the whole sentiment changes. Okay, yeah, Nvidia is now green, 0.3% up, which is definitely better than where we started. What about our friend Powell, it's still down significantly below the 150 moving average line. So we really want to close today above sort of $78. Kind of what we want. This doesn't mean we're going to get it, but that's what would be good. What's the next Palantir? Well, watch the video that's coming out, my friend. Why are you adverse to talking about Meta? I'm not adverse to talking about Meta at all. I think it's a great stock. It's had a really, really nice run. Actually, funnily enough, you guys messaged me about it today. Our students, I don't recall who it was, but and you were saying, hey, wasn't this a breakout? Wasn't this a breakout? And I think arguably it probably was here, the sort of 630, 640 range here. And again, you guys who watched the masterclass, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it just keeps inching higher. Madeline, okay, more women. Okay, there are at least 5 of you now. PayPal is down again, absolutely. Jennifer, okay, there are more women on the chat here. That's incredible. Affirm, yes. Did I buy Affirm yesterday? I think I might have done. Yeah, I do like this setup. Down a little bit today, but I think yeah, there are a bunch of these software companies that I like, and you guys inside the coaching programs I shared yesterday with you what I bought. We called it a breakout 3 days ago. Okay, today's a little bit of a wobble off the market at the beginning of the day, but yeah, I think that looked very, very healthy, and it still looks very healthy to me. We're being overrun, says Scott. Yes, absolutely. I thought this was some sort of men's club only. For many years, I managed to repel 98% of female viewers. Something seems to have changed. I don't know what it is. Paul wants to be a woman. We'll call you Paula, and Paul, and then you can be one too. Just got stopped out of my trade. Sucks, Mark. Yeah, look, it means you are running risk management, which means you keep your capital, keep your money. You're not giving it up. You're not handing it over. And that's actually a very, very healthy thing. So don't kick yourself. You get stopped out. It's just part of the process. Coca-Cola is also running up quite nicely. Very, very good numbers from those guys. But yeah, big tech limping a bit. Nvidia up is definitely a positive here, but everything from Tesla to Meta to Google to Facebook is down. Palantir is up a little bit, bucking the trend. I think probably on the annual game there's a video coming out on that later. Schwab is up, and that's pretty much it, I think. CSL, you are a lady too, and you're loving Trade Vision. Brilliant. So if you guys want to join Trade Vision like CS here, do. There's a link down below, felixfriends.org/tradevision, and it's you can just click on it in the description, and you get yourself a lot of cool stuff. We've got some amazing stuff coming up as well. You might have seen that we're working on all the big event notifications here, upcoming events. Everything that's happening, that's still a beta, but it's coming up very shortly. And that'll be very, very cool, and a lot of other stuff as well. So huge value in there, really. It's the one tool that I use to find my trades, and it's the one tool that saves me hours and hours and hours a week. And loving it. Well, we build it, so we should. Alpha, my friend, if I inspired you to watch the masterclass, I'll be very, very, very happy. And it does, yeah, just go and sit down, learn, don't rush into things. That's what protects your money. You worked hard for that money, probably. And you don't want to just give it up hoping for some return. And it hasn't worked out in the past, and it's not going to work out in the future. So either I'd say buy an index fund, leave it at that. Or if you want to do a bit more than that, learn first. Have the respect for yourself to become an amazing investor. Because it's not that hard. It really isn't. It just needs a little bit of drive, a little bit of determination. And most people just sort of think they need to start with activity. So you actually need to start with the mindset to want to learn, and then find somebody to learn the strategies from, and then start getting active. That's sort of the order of things. And most of us kind of get that the wrong way around. Okay. More women popping up in the chat here. Oh dear. So far reasonably strong today. Well, at least that's something, isn't it? I would say revisit around midday after Jerome, the money printer Powell, is speaking. So far, it's 0.26% down here. Not a big deal. At least it's over $15. I think it's quite important psychologically. The one that's a bit of a bugger is PayPal. It had a little bit of a jump up yesterday, but not a lot. And down 1.8% right now, which takes it to 76. Definitely fairly hideous. Tesla also putting in a fairly hideous market opening here. Doesn't mean it'll close that way, but sentiment definitely not looking particularly brilliant here right now. Jinx says the trade vision breakout indicator is awesome. Okay, love that. Love that you're getting value from that. Tesla, I would say it's making a recovery. Look at that. It's at 347 right now. That's a bit better than where we were. 348. Let's look at it. Chart here. We're gunning for the 350 again, which is really what we want to be doing. We want to be closing above the 350. So there's some volume coming out of the woodworks here that is actually buying Tesla, and now we're only down 0.69%. So yeah, it could be an interesting day. You guys are enjoying the trade vision? We've done some nice little things there. The bar there on the right, I think, is going to be very helpful. You can click through things more quickly, and a lot of stuff happening. So much stuff happening there on the back end, you wouldn't believe it. So if you join Trade Vision right now, not only do you get the AI indicators and the breakout indicators and so on, you also get all this good stuff. We believe in delivering insane value to you, so we've been giving all these upgrades to everybody for free, and we'll keep doing that for the people who are already in it. So make sure you get yourself a trial at tradevision.io down below. I'm sounding like a horse race announcer. You know what? When I first went to the UK, I was about 15 or something, and I was trying to learn English, right? And I was listening to the BBC radio, and they'd have these sports commentators on, commentating on horse racing or football or something. I thought that sounds so cool. Couldn't understand a word. I was just like, I have no idea. And I like that pacing. That this kind of race. English race presenters are very, very, very good because they're trained for radio. So a lot of cricket matches and stuff, they're not televised, so they just have to walk you through everything. And you can actually listen to a football match like when you're driving, and you actually know what's going on just through the way they describe it. It's a really, really cool skill. So yeah, quite a big fan of that. Is Elliot okay? I haven't checked in with him yet today. I will do though. I'm sure he's going to be just fine. How much is Trade Vision, says Dan? It is $19 a month. If you subscribe for the year, it's $16 a month. Crazy promo at the moment. Tony, thanks very much. Appreciate the kind comments there. I watch rugby for the Irish commentary as much as the match. Yeah, there is something funny about that, right? I do really like it. Auction dealer from Alabama is fastest. That's quite possible. The auctioneers also do a very, very, very good job. So, my friends, if you are still here and you haven't already taken it upon yourself to actually become an amazing investor, so your 2025 is like by far the best year yet. I think the market is set up to deliver us some real gems, but to pick them, you need some rules. You need to protect yourself and your money and your family's money by having some really, really good risk management to start with. Go to felixfriends.org/masterclass. No, actually, felixfriends.org/get free. Link is down below. And learn. Spend the next 15 minutes doing that. And I think you will be thankful for it, as thousands of you already have. And I thank you for tuning in. I wish you a beautiful day. I hope to be back.